Bitcoin has been called many things. A revolution, a threat, digital gold, the money of the internet. For more than a decade, it has defied governments, banks, and skeptics who predicted its death 100 times over. And yet, Bitcoin still stands, stronger than ever. But what if I told you that Bitcoin is not invincible? Yes, it's decentralized. Yes, it's backed by one of the largest computer networks in history. Yes, it has survived countless crashes, bans, and smear campaigns. But in theory, there are a few, very rare scenarios that could actually destroy Bitcoin, or at least cripple it beyond repair. In today's video, we'll explore the only 3 things that could truly kill Bitcoin. Not the weak FUD stories you hear on the news every week, not the tiny government bans that only make it stronger, but the ultimate threats to its very existence. And trust me, some of them might shock you, so buckle up. Because we're about to dive deep into the core of Bitcoin's strengths and its hidden vulnerabilities. Threat number 1, the technology killer. Imagine a world where Bitcoin's code, the very thing that makes it work, becomes outdated, broken, or even useless. Right now, Bitcoin runs on a proof-of-work system, secured by miners all over the globe. They dedicate insane amounts of computing power to solve cryptographic puzzles, ensuring that every transaction is verified and permanent. But what if one day, a new kind of technology appeared that made all of this obsolete? Enter quantum computing. Quantum computers, unlike traditional machines, can solve problems in ways that normal computers can't even dream of. And here's the scary part. If quantum computers reach a certain level of power, they could theoretically break Bitcoin's cryptography. Your private key? Exposed. Your wallet? Drained. The entire blockchain? Compromised. Now don't panic just yet. Most experts believe we're still years, maybe decades, away from a quantum computer powerful enough to crack Bitcoin. And even if it happens, the Bitcoin community could attempt to upgrade its code to quantum-resistant algorithms. But the real danger is this. What if the transition isn't smooth? What if governments or corporations secretly develop such tech and use it before anyone else can react? In that case, Bitcoin's trust could collapse overnight. Because Bitcoin isn't just code, it's belief. If people stop believing their money is safe, the whole system falls apart. So yes, a technological leap beyond anything we know today is one of the only ways Bitcoin could truly die. But that's just the beginning. Because the next killer isn't about technology at all. It's about raw, centralized power. Threat number 2, the political superweapon. Bitcoin was born in 2009, right after the global financial crisis, as a response to corruption, inflation, and government-controlled money. Its greatest strength, decentralization. No single government, no single bank, no single person controls it. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Governments still have enormous power. They can't directly turn off Bitcoin, but what they can do is make your life miserable if you use it. Imagine this scenario. The world's largest governments, the United States, the European Union, China, and others, join forces in a coordinated global crackdown. They ban exchanges. They make owning Bitcoin illegal. They freeze bank accounts connected to crypto wallets. They introduce harsh penalties, even jail time, for anyone caught transacting in Bitcoin. Now you might be thinking, that would never happen. Governments hate each other too much to work together. And you're right, under normal circumstances. But history shows us that when a common threat appears, enemies can quickly become allies. During wars, during pandemics, during financial crises, cooperation can happen overnight. And here's the key. Bitcoin threatens the very foundation of government power, money itself. If Bitcoin adoption ever grows to the point where it starts replacing national currencies on a large scale, don't expect governments to just sit back and watch. They could see it as an existential threat and act ruthlessly to crush it. Would this kill Bitcoin completely? Not immediately. Hardcore users would always find ways to use it underground. But without access to exchanges, without the ability to convert Bitcoin into dollars, euros, or yuan, its mainstream adoption could collapse. The average person would simply stop using it, and the price could plummet. Of course, there's a twist. Some argue that a global ban would actually make Bitcoin stronger, pushing it into the black market where it becomes unstoppable. But let's be real. If 99% of people are too afraid to use it, Bitcoin would never reach its vision of being a global currency. So yes, a coordinated global political crackdown could be one of the few things that truly kills Bitcoin. But there's one final killer, and it might be the most dangerous of them all, because it doesn't come from technology. It doesn't come from governments. It comes from within us, Threat number 3, the human factor. Bitcoin is more than just code, more than just money. It's a social contract, a collective agreement by millions of people worldwide that these digital coins, secured by math, have value. But what happens if people stop believing? Here's the harsh truth. Bitcoin survives on trust. Trust that the network is secure. Trust that it will hold its value. Trust that enough people will continue to use it. If that trust ever breaks, Bitcoin collapses, not because of a government, not because of quantum computers, but because people simply walk away. How could this happen? One way is through better competition. If a new cryptocurrency appears that is faster, more scalable, more private, and more user-friendly, and if it gains massive adoption, people might slowly migrate away from Bitcoin. After all, Bitcoin isn't perfect. Transactions can be slow, fees can spike, and it's not the most efficient system. Another way is through community division. We've already seen forks like Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV split from the main chain. Imagine a future where the Bitcoin community fractures again, but on a much larger scale. Multiple competing versions of Bitcoin could confuse users, weaken trust, and dilute the brand. And finally, the biggest human threat of all, greed and fear. We've seen it in every bull run and every crash. When prices skyrocket, people pour in without understanding the technology. When prices collapse, panic selling destroys confidence. If one day a catastrophic crash wipes out too many people, the damage to Bitcoin's reputation could be permanent. Because in the end, Bitcoin doesn't die when the code fails. It doesn't die when miners quit. It dies when humans decide it's no longer worth saving. The final word. So, can Bitcoin be killed? Yes, but only under extraordinary circumstances. A world-changing technological breakthrough like quantum computing, a global coordinated political crackdown, or the slow erosion of human trust. But here's the twist. Each of these scenarios, while possible, is extremely difficult to achieve. And that's why Bitcoin is still here after more than a decade of attacks, bans, crashes, and predictions of doom. Bitcoin was designed to be resilient, to survive, to adapt. And maybe, just maybe, that's why none of these killers will ever succeed. Because the only thing stronger than technology, stronger than governments, and stronger than fear, is an idea whose time has come. And Bitcoin, my friends, might just be that idea.